ensures the fact that I will be inducted in many halls of fame. You will be the person that introduces me. Thank you. I want to do a little business first. Turn to the back of your program, if you will. If you look at the back of your program, you'll see it's an announcement of the kickoff of Global Cleveland. Global Cleveland is the work of a tremendous number of people in this room. And we're kicking it off at City Hall. All kinds of ethnic food, all kinds of music, but this, we believe, is the start of a new Cleveland. I want to start out by telling you how grateful I am to be inducted with this class of people. I do want you to know that I learned something. If you're ever asked to be inducted in the Hall of Fame, find out who the speakers are going to be. I picked a bad night. Terrific speakers, I have to tell you. Sam and I have been partners, relatives, for 65 years, and he is the brother that I never had. In the 65 years, there was one thing I would never do. I would never, ever, ever follow Sam in giving a speech. And Dan Hansen, you ruined it. When I'm done, you'll understand why. I come from a very large family, and my father's family had 9 brothers and sisters. I had an uncle, Uncle Charlie, who came to the United States from Poland in 1904. And he came to this country, he went to New York, the family didn't hear from him. He ended up enlisting the army, he ended up being a captain, was in the Panama Canal, came back to Białystok, Poland in 1920. He knocked on the door. There were, at the house, 7 brothers and sisters, each one of whom claimed they opened the door when he came. And he came and announced the fact that the family was to leave Poland and come to the United States. They did not want to do it, because while things were terrible in Poland, they had given it no thought, even though they had relatives here. They took what little money that they had, and they buried it in the back of the house, because they were sure they would be coming back to Białystok, Poland. And when we went back to Białystok in the 70s, we tried to find the house to see if we'd find the money. But we couldn't find the house, so we really couldn't find the money. And my Uncle Charlie is the reason that all of us have actually are alive today and came to this country. Last year when I was a keynote speaker, I related the history of my family. Tonight I would like to relate to you some of the things that my sister and I learned from our immigrant family. And I don't think it's much different than the things that your parents and grandparents taught you. This is a long history. My teachers were my grandparents who died 61 years ago, my father who died 37 years ago, and all of my aunts and uncles, all of whom are now gone. My mother passed away 47 years ago. She was the first American to marry into this immigrant family, and she was the one that taught all of the ladies in the family how you dress and how you did things within the country. I had 2 aunts, my youngest 2 aunts, and my Aunt Irene, who was the second youngest, and the youngest was my Aunt Fanny, said to my Aunt Irene, "You're going to Glenville School, and you should make sure you shouldn't hang around with the greenhorns, because you'll never learn how to be an American." And I think we all went through the same experience as our families. They came from a foreign country, they tried to retain their identity. And yet they all wanted to become Americanized. So my mother was a first generation family. They were all gone, but like your parents and grandparents, they're still with me. I spent the first 18 years of my life in that family, as did my sister, my late wife, with their families, and my wife Audrey. What I want to tell you is what they taught me, but in their words. There is no country in the world like the USA. You have to be born outside of this country to understand this. Had Uncle Charlie not gone back to Poland to make us come to America, you, Albert, would not be here. Your 5 other siblings would have died in the Holocaust. If you remember where you came from, you'll always know where you were going. Life is not easy. Stick together as a family. It is our strength. Help our Jewish people, because that is how you survive. Help others. You live in a big connected world. You are never alone. All immigrants came to this country voluntarily, with the exception of blacks. They were slaves. Understand they deserve your special help. There is no limit to what you can do if you don't care who gets credit. You don't always get the circumstances you find, but you always get to determine how to act in those circumstances. When someone passes away and you remember them in the years to come, they will always be with you. The last lesson needs some explanation. In 1940, when I was 12 years old, right before my bar mitzvah, both of my grandparents passed away. And about a month before my grandmother passed away, we had a fire at our West Side lumberyard. And I had spent a lot of time with my grandmother, and I hadn't seen her a few days because I was on the West Side serving coffee to the farmers. And my grandmother said she wanted to see me. So I came into the house, and the first thing she said to me is, "Was brennt?" What burned? And the family didn't want my grandmother to know that there had been a fire. But I couldn't lie to her. I said, "Grandma, our lumberyard burned." And she said to me, "Get your father and get all of my children and bring them together." And everybody were together, and my grandmother turned to us and said, "I know this has been a financial disaster to the family. I know this has been very hard on all of us. But I want you to understand something. It is better to be a boss without a business than a business without a boss. You are bosses, and you will always make it back." And that's the way we've always looked at our family and all of the people that work with us. I thank you for this honor because it's given me an opportunity to go back and remember the immigrants in my family and what they did for all of us, but what they have done for our country. Each of us have shared these experiences unless we are American Indians. Someone immigrated to the USA before us, or none of us could possibly be here. In 1940, the year that my grandparents passed away, Northeast Ohio had 20.5% of its population made up of foreign-born people. Today, 2011, we have 4% of our population made up of foreign-born people. In the same period of time, the United States has gone from a country of 8% foreign-born people to 12% foreign-born now. And that's the reason it's so important that all of us understand that we have to find a way to bring in immigrants, to bring in migrants. I think all of us here can appreciate the great gift that we have received. What greater joy can we have in our life to have others be able to share the gift that we've been granted? Thank you very much.